What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Walking Dead. I'm Greg Miller. This is Mitch Dyer, and we are not talking about the show. This is the final episode for this season, at least. Walking Dead, the game, episode 5. No time left. Mitch, did you cry?
I did.
Yeah.
I'm a big old baby. I'm a big softie. I'm a big sensitive.
Was it big old bawling tears, or was it?
No. There was a point. So obviously, Talking Walking Dead, we're gonna spoil it.
Heads up. The whole point of the show is that we
whole
spoil
thing.
everything. We actually talk about it.
So when we get to the end, and Lee's tied to he's handcuffed to the radiator.
Yeah, which you don't have to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
You can try to handcuff the security guard, because you got the dead security guard in the glass case. You do that, then Clementine comes to get everything, and he pulls his own hand off and comes at her.
Did not know this.
Yeah.
I'm learning things.
That's what Talking Walking Dead's all about.
Learning. It's a learning experience.
Anyways, he's handcuffed.
He's handcuffed to the heater, and he's having these moments with Clementine, and they're having their last moments. And I was fine. I was like, oh, this is really emotional. This is powerful. But I didn't start to well up.
Yeah.
Until she held his hand, and he was like, I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
And it was just too much.
Were you happy with that? I mean, I had been pulling for quite some time, hoping the final line I would get to tell her I love her. That's what I really wanted, because I do love Clementine. You know what I mean? I fell in love with her throughout this game.
You don't feel like that would have been a cheap cliche? I feel like they avoided that specifically because I love you, Clementine would have been just too all right, I get it.
You could have done it cool. I love you, Clementine. I know.
Yeah. No, I feel like all of those dialogue options that they gave you were great. They were subtle, they were effective, and they essentially said the same thing.
Okay. Here's my next question for you. We're gonna jump around. We'll get to all the points. Don't worry about it. People know the show. They've been asking for it. Thank you very much. I was under the impression no one watched.
Me too.
And then we got a million tweets asking.
Yeah, yo guys,
that's awesome.
where's the show?
Awesome. Sorry, you want to hold hands? My question for you is Lee dead?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like there's no way that Telltale is gonna back down and be like, just kidding. Lee is a zombie and you have to kill him. I feel like that might be.
See, I was with you for a long time, and when I first played it, I thought it was a brilliant way they did it. Right? Is that episode 1, come to life in that cop car. I am Lee Everett, and then the whole story goes until Clementine pulls the trigger. If you choose to die,
yeah, it goes black
screen.
when Lee dies, whether he passes out on the heater or he gets shot in the face. His story is over and it goes to credits. My
thing though is that if you leave him at the heater, obviously he's going to turn into a walker, get up and walk.
Sure.
If you shoot him, you'd think he wouldn't. I ended episode 5, my first playthrough, and I'm like, oh, it's over. That's great.
Yeah.
But I played it.
Theory now.
I played it twice more, and what happens is Clementine brings the gun up, can't do it, looks at it. She's lined up for the shot, and then pulls to the camera and shoots so that we see the muzzle flash.
So the way I interpret,
she goes wide, and then there's a breath. There's a gasp. There's a raspy breath.
Is it really?
It goes black, and you hear. So I don't know. And not to mention, here's the other thing, is that as much as The Walking Dead, the reason we all love this game, right, is that our choices matter and they influence and things change and yada yada. But there are bottleneck moments that you can't get out of, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
You can't get out of, in this episode.
You will always end the game with the same characters.
You're going to lose Kenny. Kenny's going to disappear, also not dead.
You're going to lose Ben.
Yeah, Ben's going to...
Kenny's dead.
Yeah, he's not.
Kenny's dead.
We'll get to that in a second. But what I'm saying is, it seems like a pretty big bottleneck moment that Lee, his situation has to be the same situation, right? It seems like it makes sense when you look back on it that for season 2, season 3, whatever, if they're going to eventually backtrack or something like that. Now, if they never plan to backtrack, then it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But if they backtrack into Savannah again, you're going to need. It could read your save, and you have a body there, you have a zombie there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing it probably won't ever play into it. We'll never go back.
I feel like that cast that we know is gone for the most part.
No way.
Maybe Krista and Omid come back, but Kenny is gone. And Lee is gone. I think we never see those characters again.
No way.
I would love to never see them because the mystery of Kenny's death or life, we may never know, and I love that. I love open-endedness. I love interpreting things for myself. I love not necessarily having closure. As long as it's satisfying, because it was. We got to see Kenny go down. He did something heroic in either case, and you're just like, oh shit, where is he going?
So you're talking about either case. For people who only played through once, a lot of people do this. You have your Walking Dead playthrough. That's what happens. Either you have the whole group, and then when you come out of the couple that's killed themselves in the bed, you jump off onto the next rooftop. If you notice, Kenny jumps. Did I? Yeah. A lot of people make fun of me for this. Roof? Is that more? Is that rooftop?
Roof.
You jump from that to the rooftop. After Kenny jumps, you'll see it hang off the wall, right? And if you have nobody else behind you, you don't know.
That's what confused me. I was like, all right, why did it show me that?
And then you keep playing, and what happens is they get to that hole in the thing where you look down, and you're like, oh, that looks creepy.
You drop the walkie-talkie. Krista jumps down to get it. Kenny jumps down to save Krista, and he vanishes into the darkness.
Yeah, exactly. Now the flip side of that is if you had the one more person, when you're jumping from rooftop. Jumping to the rooftop, the thing gives way with Ben on it. He falls down. Kenny and Lee go down to help him. They pull back some things. He's got a giant old metal spike. He's not going to come back from that. But then Kenny pushes Lee back behind the gate, locks him out, takes a shot, and then disappears in this wave of zombies. Neither time do we see Kenny bitten. killed. You know he's dead. I'm telling you, Kenny is alive, and he will be in future episodes, if not future seasons.
I think Molly too, because we were super hardcore into the idea that Molly lived and she was coming back in episode 5. She didn't. It sucked. Yeah, because we love Molly. We love Molly.
Well, it's now you figure now we have all these interesting threads to follow up on, and like who can come in and how can they be clever. So okay, we're jumping around. That's great. What did you take away from the ending? We get to the epilogue. Clementine in the field looks off in the distance. We see 2 figures on a hill that stop when they recognize it.
I think your theory, because Greg wrote an amazing article for IGN. It's on the website now. It's a bunch of season 2 predictions. It's 3 different possibilities of where season 2 could go. And my favorite one is those are the 2 people in the distance. At least I think this was you. Yeah. I'm going to give Greg the credit anyway. 2 people in the distance. That's our 2 characters from season 2. Exactly. Maybe a husband and a wife, something like that. And they're in the distance, and your idea was that you play as them the first episode, you end on this hill, you look out, boom, little girl. And that's your, cut to credits. Next episode, you meet with Clementine.
See, that for me, I had these 3 theories. That's the one that I think is the most believable, most plausible out of all my goofy things. Of course, I'm the guy who thought that maybe the Uncharted villainess was 450 years old, so who knows. But what I'm saying here is, you're going to play through that first episode, we'll get introduced to these characters, and then all hell's going to break loose. Yeah. They got to get away from their group, it's overrun, and they'll be in the countryside. They're walking, see Clementine, cliffhanger ending. We come back to episode 2, and that's when, you notice when we were talking, like, the coolest thing I thought about episode 5's ending, aside from being emotionally touching, was we were totally passing that torch to Clementine. You know what I mean? You have gone through 5 episodes of an adventure game, and maybe it's your first adventure game, maybe you don't know how to play them, and it's a different kind of adventure game.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden have to sit there and tell Clementine how to play an adventure game.
You're teaching her how to play a
video game. Get the baseball
bat,
move this, break the glass, do this. Always, and you say always get the gun or go for the keys, and then there's all these choices at the end. Find a group, don't trust a group. Find Chris Noemi, go off on your own. Yeah. And I think that when they open episode 2, they go with my theory, and we run into Clementine. That's when our choices, because they've said, Telltale has openly said, hang on to your season 1 save files. That's when all those choices are going to matter. Clementine's either going to come up to the group and be approachable. She'll hang back, not want anything to do with us. Maybe she runs away. There could be all these different cool things.
That would be anticlimactic. Boom, child. Oh, she's gone.
She just runs screaming. Oh, it's really fast. The kid's really fast. Yeah. So I mean, that's a really cool cliffhanger to see how they're going to do that. Now, would you feel cheated there? Do you want to pick up as Clementine? A lot of people just want to pick up as Clementine and go.
I mean, that was my first reaction, right? Like in my ending, I played as don't shoot Lee in the face.
You could leave me.
Because I didn't want Clementine to ever kill a man. Even though she did in the hotel room, which was the most crazy moment.
Yeah.
Oh my
Again,
God.
Hotel room, if you didn't know, when you slam the stranger up against the thing, Lee can choke him to death.
Which I did not.
I've been able to do. Yeah, I didn't know either. Or if you're not tapping the button fast enough, he'll knock you down and Clementine will shoot him in the head.
Which is crazy, right? Because the entire time you're teaching her like, I killed a person, like a real person, not one of those monsters. And she's like kind of afraid of you at times and like does not understand why you would do that. And putting her in that situation is like one of the most powerful moments in the whole series. Yeah. And I forgot how did we come to this moment?
Where are we talking about? Clementine?
So in my ending, she walks out the door, right? And Lee watches her go through the door and slumps down. And my immediate reaction was, well, obviously I'm going to play as Clementine in season 2. I'm going to pick up as she opens that door and he's like, oh, zombies run! And that'll be how season 2 starts.
Yeah.
But now I'm not so sure because I feel like that's the easy answer, and Telltale
doesn't take
is
the easy
very
route
good at I've not taken the easy way out. They're going to surprise us. They're going to come up with something that, when we get to that moment, we're going to look back at this video and go, look at these idiots. They have no idea what they're talking about. Of course it's exactly what Telltale did, because they're smarter than us.
Yeah, no, and they are. And that was one of my other favorite things about, I have a million favorite things, obviously, about this episode, as I've said. But what I really dug was that, I'm a huge Walking Dead comics fan.
Me too.
I really like the show still. I know you're soured a bit on the show. But I like that. I like Walking Dead lore. I've read Rise of the Governor. I'm reading Road to Woodbury. I'm reading Road to Woodbury. And I don't read, ladies and gentlemen.
Greg's actually illiterate. I have to read it to him.
They're audiobooks on tape. Colin sits there and reads it to me. And anyways, what I'm saying is I really like that lore and what happens in the episode, like episode 4, Lee gets bit.
Right.
And I expected them to cut to black right away. And then I was going to be like, all right, and when we come back, somebody's going to be like, saw off your arm. And they didn't, though. He's bit. Right. The game goes on. I'm like, oh, this is way too long. He's really going to die. This is the end for Lee. And then in episode 5, like hours later, they're like, oh, let's cut off his arm. And I was like, this is going to be the biggest cop-out ever.
Right,
if this
cut it
saves
off and
his
you
life,
live.
right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, that doesn't happen. I was like, awesome.
Which is
great move, yeah. And then the other thing was, when we got to the guts, when we're rubbing the guts on ourselves, I was like, and we step outside and you hear a thunderclap. And I'm like, it's going to rain off. This is going to be the biggest, like another version of this. This will be the third time we've seen it in the series. And sure enough, that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? I was like, this is great. They did a great job of playing with my expectations of what it was going to be.
but still doing what we, they pull from these moments that we know from Walking Dead, like the putting the guts on yourself.
Yeah.
And some people in the office are not sold on that moment in particular. Andrew Goldfarb, our news editor, who knows the show and knows a bit about the comics, he knows about that moment, right? Yeah. He's seen it before, and he had a problem with it because he thought, I've seen this. But I don't know, I feel like that's a natural reaction in the zombie apocalypse. Cover yourself with some guts, blend in with the crowd.
It's one of those things, people come to those conclusions, right? Like, there's these established facts of what the universe is.
Yeah.
So I think for me,
I think it's totally natural that somebody would do that.
We talked a little bit about the ending, People on the Hill. What are the odds it's Krista and Omid?
I don't know, 50-50.
Yeah, it's one of those things, when Krista and Omid are talking to Lee about where they want to go to the countryside. Yeah. And they're pretty clearly in the countryside. So I thought that was interesting, that it could easily be them, that is them, and it's just one of those, quinky dinks that they got back together. Yeah.
Think Telltale knows who those people are yet? Do they have it figured out?
Yeah.
Or are they just playing with us for now?
I think they know pretty well. It's one of those things, I think they've had enough time to... you have to figure that Telltale's been working on The Walking Dead and Fables, right? And Fables has been in pre-production. God only knows how much they've done on Fables. But remember when Walking Dead started and then hit, they were super fast. Like in July, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing a season 2. I got to imagine that when it exploded, they were like... we are, everybody come off Fables for a little bit, come off what you're doing, that game's coming, we'll work on that. But Walking Dead, we need to have all this momentum, and I think they really probably, I'd like to think, thought out where all the, because the game is so complex as far as how your decisions play out. Like, talking about Larry and having all these conversations about Larry and stuff in episode 5, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I haven't thought about Larry since I smashed his head with a salt block. You had a great story about Larry, too, that I never saw.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this till very recently. If you play your cards right, if you make all the right decisions up until that moment, you decide you're going to save Larry in the cooler in episode 2.
Yeah.
2. You can see in certain saves that Larry is still alive when that salt hits him in the face.
That's awesome.
That's uncomfortable.
It's one of those things like, I want to replay Walking Dead, but I don't in the same breath because I like my story and I like my Lee, but I want to replay to see all this goofy crap. Sure. Luckily, the IGN Wiki has it up. I'm sure you can go see it there.
I think... I'm the same way. Like, I don't want to re-experience this because what I had is the experience I had.
Yeah.
But in a year's time, when season 2 starts to come around, I'm going to need that save file. And I played on, we
played on a million different units.
So I played partially on PS3, partially on 360, and partially on PC.
Yeah.
All 3 platforms. And I'm going to need that save file when season 2 comes, so I can have my Lee.
Yeah, exactly.
So I need to go back and redefine it. But it's one of those cases where I built my Lee. I have this character that I know and love.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want to make different decisions.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of when I was reviewing it. People always ask me, oh, well, what did you do? I'm like, on my real playthrough, I did this. And then I went back and screwed around and did all this stupid stuff.
I'm sad this is over, Greg, because we can't do this again for some time.
I think it'll be faster than you think.
Yeah.
If Telltale has a brain in their heads, we'll be back pretty quick.
Get to it.
And I think they have a pretty good brain in their heads there.
Someone over there, give Sean Vanneman a hug.
Yeah, man, that guy is screwed up in the head.
Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think of Walking Dead, the game, episode 5, No Time Left, and the 5 episodes in general? Let us know in the comments below. Then make sure you share this video so everyone can weep together over the death of Lee Everett. Then keep on watching everything we put up on IGN. Hey, did you know that on Up at Noon, not this Monday, but the next Monday, Lee Everett himself stopping by, Dave Fenoy, coming in to talk about it.
YouTube.com/start.
You should watch that probably. And then keep coming back to IGN.com for all our crazy Walking Dead predictions, videos, reviews, everything. Beyond.
Love you.